श्रीसौनकुवाच कपिलस्तत्त्वसङ्ख्याता भगवानात्ममायया जातः स्वयमजः साक्षात् आत्मप्रज्ञप्तये नृणाम्. Can one of you read in the mic? Translation.
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे
कौन वो चैंटिंग भी कर रहे, हियरिंग भी कर रहे?
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण हरे हरे
Yes, please. Okay, purport. So the book Teachings of Lord Kapila, it is both Prabhupada's purport plus Prabhupada's recording, class recording mix. Yeah.
The word Prajnanate indicates that the Lord intends for the benefit of the human race to obtain the knowledge. Material entities are quite for the knowledge to be dedicated.
Prabhuji, it is not audible. Like
No,
whoever is reading,
slowly.
their voice is
Little
not
slowly.
audible.
Little slowly. Online devotees, are you able to hear?
Not
No.
the reader's voice, Prabhu.
Not the reader's voice? Okay. Is not clear. Okay, whoever, so you have to come here and read.
Or maybe online devotees can read.
Online devotees can. Yeah, that's also good. Bhagavatam mic. Plug and play and I'll connect. Okay, so online devotees will. Or you can come here. So you read here. Jaldi. Recording waste all. Just come here.
When one is situated in Sattva Guna, one's knowledge expands. On the platform of passion, there is no knowledge, but passion is an impetus to enjoy material benefits. On the platform of ignorance, there is neither knowledge nor enjoyment, but simply animalistic living. The Vedas are intended to elevate one from the mode of ignorance to the platform of goodness. When one is situated in the mode of goodness, he is able to understand knowledge of the self or transcendental knowledge. It cannot be appreciated by any ordinary man. Therefore, a disciplic succession is required. This knowledge is expounded either by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself or by his bona fide devotee. Shaunaka Muni also states here that Kapila, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, took birth or appeared simply to disseminate transcendental knowledge. To understand that one is not matter but spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi, I am by nature Brahman, is not sufficient for understanding the self and his activities. One must be situated in the activities of Brahman. Knowledge of those activities is explained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Such transcendental knowledge can be appreciated in human society but not in animal society. As clearly indicated here, the word Pranam for the human beings. Human beings are meant to lead a regulated life. By nature, there is regulation. In animal life also, but that is not like the regulative life described in the scriptures or by the Vedic authorities. Only when one's life is regulated according to the Vedas can one understand transcendental knowledge.
Oh, just a minute. Actually, this is because mixed lecture. It's a huge this thing. Okay, I was just thinking it's purport. Okay, okay.
I guess you could use the mic.
Okay. What is this for? That's the mic. So he can now speak in the mic. Okay, speak in the mic. What I should do? Here, right? Audio. It's like microphone. Which one?
It's not showing.
So,
External.
no, these microphones are with 3. Okay, online devotees, you can just let me know if you're able to hear.
For explanation of this transcendental knowledge,
No difference, Prabhuji.
No difference. Haribo. No difference.
incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead gave instructions in Sankhya philosophy to his mother, Devahuti. Later, another Kapil Dev appeared who expounded specific Sankhya philosophy, which dealt with the 24 elements, but gave no information about God.
अभी कुछ भी सुनाई नहीं दे रहा प्रभु जी
Going back, come ahead, no. Wait.
And that's 0.5. Detecting. Hello.
Oh, okay.
Because this is only output. Look. Bharat.
Oh, okay. So check now.
Hare Krishna.
Online devotees, can you hear?
थोड़ा और बोलो प्रभु.
Hare Krishna.
I mean, it's coming from far only, Prabhuji.
These things have to be done later. We cannot waste time of reading. Hey, we'll figure it out tomorrow then. मुझे पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Yeah, nothing, no, we'll just remove this. Okay. Okay. Don't do. Bolo.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
How is it, Prabhu?
Hare Hare.
Same as before, Prabhuji.
Okay. ये क्या है? Select a speaker. But this is speaker. The speaker. Microphone is not being detected. ठीक है.
Hare Krishna.
Any difference?
Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Any difference, Prabhu? Online devotees?
No, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. कल करेंगे. Cut all that. ठीक है. So Prabhupada explained about Kapila Sattva Sankhyata. I don't know how much of this purport were you able to catch. See, you can put your phone on silent. Atma Pragyaptayenam. Prabhupada first explains Atma Pragyaptayenam. That means this knowledge is meant for the whole human race. And then he talks about Kapila. Who is the actual Kapila? That much we read. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, thank you all of you for joining for this book reading. So what we will do, just like our Bhagavatam study, we will elaborate more in our book readings. So currently we are reading this book, Teachings of Lord Kapila. And in the teachings of Lord Kapila, in the third canto, comes in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the most vital chapter is the 25th chapter, which talks about devotional service. But before that and after that, Lord Kapila speaks a lot. So as the title states here, this is only talking about the purpose of Lord Kapila's advent. So we are just right in the beginning, and there's much more to cover, a lot to cover. And I'm not sure if all of you know who Lord Kapila is. Do you know who Lord Kapila is? Do you know his past? Whom did he take birth to? Okay, how they met, the past time. Does everyone know? How many of you know? Okay, vaguely. Huh? Okay, and Samakshpur knows. Haribo. Okay. So, Kardama Muni was a very austere sage. Haribo. So, Kardama Muni was a very austere sage sitting in the forest and meditating, performing divine austerities, tapo divyam. By Lord's divine arrangement, he had this desire to get married. I asked Radhisham Prabhu, why did Kardama Muni have this desire to get married? Because many people ask, he performed austerities for a long time, at least then one should be able to overcome sex desire. So Radhisham Prabhu was saying it is because it was the desire of the Lord. It was Lord's arrangement. Because at that point in time, he wanted Prajapatis to get married and populate the universe. So though Kardama Muni was engaged in divine austerities, in devotional service, like chanting extra rounds, fasting on Ekadashi, he was doing all these things in the forest. Still, he got this desire to get married by Lord's arrangement. But what did Kardama do? He didn't go to any matrimonial websites. He didn't go to Tinder. He didn't go to any social dating websites or apps. All he did was he just prayed to the Supreme Lord. I don't know who is perfect for me. So you arrange, whomever you arrange, that lady is perfect for me. That means even for selecting wife, he depended on Krishna. This is the glory of Kardama Muni. So when the Supreme Lord Vishnu descended, being touched, see, if you ask for material desire, that doesn't touch the Supreme Lord, isn't it? If someone says Kardama Muni was still materially afflicted because of which he asked for a wife instead of pure bhakti, you think the Supreme Lord is that easy, so cheap? No. Supreme Lord is not that cheap that you ask for material desire and you're praying with a mixed devotion and you can get him here. Krishna is only conquered by love and devotion. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. One knows me only by love and devotion, by bhakti. And so therefore, when Kardama Muni was fervently praying to the Lord, immediately Lord Vishnu came on Garuda. And he came down on his Garuda and he wanted to bless Kardama. That time he asked Kardama Muni, what can I do for you? And he said, I want to get married. So my dear Lord, you only arrange some wife for me, whomever you think is fit. And that time, of course, Lord Vishnu blessed him and left. He said he would arrange. So then there was the Manu of the age, Swambhuva Manu. Swambhuva Manu was a son of Brahma, and he had a daughter, young daughter, whose name was Devahuti. Swambhu Manu had 5 children, Akuti, Prasuti, Devahuti, and 2 sons, Uttanapada and Priyavrata. So Srimad Bhagavatam explains all their lives. So here they're talking about Swambhu Manu's daughter called Devahuti. And Devahuti is considered to be so beautiful when even she was a young, small girl, when the Gandharvas would fly in the airplanes, one Gandharva happened to look at the beauty of this Devahuti. And he was completely, he was looking at that beauty and he toppled from his airplane and fell on the ground. She was that beautiful. So this Devahuti, who is a princess, because Swambhu Manu is a king, once Swambhu Manu was inspired by the Lord, in the heart, to go to this Kardama Muni, who's an austere sage. You can ask nowadays, how many fathers will be willing to give their daughters in marriage to an austere sage? If you want to get your daughters married, generally they want to marry to people who are citizen, US citizen, I mean, not Indian. Indian citizen, no one cares. US citizen. He should be having a good job, good finance, and they see the background and all this. So many material considerations are there before you get the daughter married. By the Vedic times, the considerations were different. What were the considerations? Character, devotion, and how austere you were. So Swambhu Manu took his young daughter Devahuti to Kardama Muni, and then they had. I'm not sure. I think it's already covered, or I don't know if in this book it gets covered. So then they have a conversation. What is this conversation? Swambhuva Manu is appreciating the Brahmanas because Kardama Muni is a Brahmana, the sages. And Kardama Muni, being a Brahmana, is appreciating the Kshatriyas as the protector of the Brahmanas. Generally, when the classes get contaminated, Kshatriyas say, who are these foolish Brahmanas? Without our protection, they will perish. And the Brahmanas say, who are these foolish Kshatriyas? Without our protection and guidance, they cannot rule the world. But here you will find in Srimad Bhagavatam, both of them start appreciating one another. And then Swambhuva Manu understands the pure character and devotion of Kardamuni. And he asks Devahuti. Devahuti is finally the one to choose. And Devahuti is very happy, becomes very happy to find that Kardama Muni would be a very ideal husband. So definitely they get married. I mean, long story cut short. This is just the intro of how Kapila came to the world. So they get married, and again, what does Kardama do? He gets into his tapasya, austerities. And Devahuti, being a princess, it's not easy. It is not easy for a princess to do menial services. But she, with all, let me just show you the third canto. Because I don't think it's covered in the book. Online devotees, you're able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Let me see if this is the one.
Which application is this, Prabhuji?
Just a minute.
Oh, Vedabase only.
This
I
is
see.
I'm
dark
just
version of
searching.
Vedanta.
See this
Dark.
third canto, chapter 23. Yeah, see Devothi's lamentation. See, after the departure of her parents, chaste woman Devoti, who understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. O Vidura, Devahuti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with the control of the senses, with love and with sweet words. Working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. This is very difficult. Generally, it's very difficult for wife. But she kept all her desires aside just to please the husband. The daughter of Manu, who was fully devoted to her husband, looked upon him as greater even than Providence. Thus she expected great blessings from him. Having served him for a long time, she grew weak and emaciated due to her religious observances. And seeing her condition, Kardama, the foremost of her celestial sages, was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with great love. Yeah. There was one verse which is very important. Just a minute. This is Vishrambena Shauchena Gauravena Damena Cha Shushushaya Sauradena Vacha Maduraya Chabhu. This is a very important verse. How should a disciple serve the Guru? It is mentioned. Vishrambena means with intimacy. Atma Shauchena with purity of mind and body. Gauravena with great respect. Damena with control of senses. Without control of senses, there's no God. There's nothing called as service without control of senses. And Shushushya Sauradena, loving service, not grudging service. Vacha, with words which are sweet, Madhuraya. So this is how she pleased the husband. So you will find then Kardama becomes very compassionate to Devahuti, and he asked Devahuti, what can I do for you? Because you have put aside your selfish desires to serve me. And she says, I want children. And understanding her mind, Kardama Muni, what does he do? He immediately brings out this huge aerial palace, like a city. Like imagine entire New York City is not that great. Some heavenly city, Indra's city. He made a flying city and he arranged for some celestial women to take care of Devahuti, to nourish her, to bathe her, to put ornaments. And they enjoyed in the city for a long time. And finally, Kardamuni gives her children. And at the end, after giving children, I'll show you what happens. See, this is all description of the castle, the city. Okay, then they unite and finally. See, immediately afterward, on the same day, Devavati gave birth to 9 female children. The powerful Kardamuni was know of everyone's heart and he could grant whatever one desired. Knowing the spiritual soul, he regarded her as half of his body. Dividing himself in 9 forms, he impregnated Devoti with 9 discharge of semen. Immediately afterward, on the same day, Devoti gave birth to 9 female children. I hadn't noticed that before. On the same day. All charming in every limb and fragrant with the scent of red lotus flower. Divine children, celestial children. When she saw her husband about to leave home, because he had promised Swambhu Manu, I will only get married on one condition, that as soon as I give children, I'm going to take sannyas. So it's not that after Gardamuni got into family life, he forgot about sannyas. As soon as he gave children, he was there to take sannyas. That means whatever he engaged in his family life, it was done on the platform of service attitude, on platform of duty. She is married to me. My duty as a husband to give her children. And he followed his vow and fulfilled his vow. And as soon as he gave children, he was ready to quit home. See, this is not easy. Why is not easy? Sometimes we go home or sometimes we go to our friend's place. Immediately our mind will get distracted, isn't it? We cannot focus on spiritual life. Have you found that? I mean, none of you, I don't think you go home so often. But generally, when we practice Krishna consciousness, you go home, stay at home for one month. Immediately, the dosage of Krishna consciousness reduces, and we are no more so Krishna conscious. Then, at the end of 1 month, if someone says, Prabhu, let's go to Vrindavan and do just 64 rounds daily, can you chant like that? Impossible, because you are at home, your Krishna consciousness is not so much. So now you feel 16 itself is very tough. But see, Kardamuni engaged in all these activities in family affairs, but at the end of, after giving children, he still maintained his consciousness to take sannyas. So this is what we mean, art of smart work. You catch fish without getting wet. He engaged in family affairs but didn't get affected. That means he was shielded. He was shielded and protected by his consciousness. His consciousness was protected. So now when he was about to leave, she stood and scratched the ground with her foot, which was radiant with luster of her gem-like nails. Her head bent down, she spoke in a slow yet charming accents, suppressing her tears. And now she says, my lord, you have fulfilled all the promises you gave me. Yet because I am your surrendered soul, you should give me fearlessness too. Her fear is what? Your daughters will get married and leave. You are taking sannyas. Who will protect me later on? Until now, we have simply wasted so much of our time in sense gratification, neglecting to cultivate knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Not knowing a transcendental situation, I have loved you while remaining attached to the objects of the senses. Nonetheless, let the affinity I have developed for you rid me of all the fear. So what has happened till now? What has happened till now is now she is able to understand. She thought probably when I have children, I'll be happy. Probably family life will make me happy. But even after getting everything, she understood I'm still not happy. So now she's saying, now you give me fearlessness. It's a powerful statement. See, this all you can go through on your own. Where the Vanchita Maya Dridam? I got cheated. Solidly cheated by Maya. Oh, this one. You did this. Can you repeat? Saham Bhagavato Nunam Vanchita Maya Dridam Yatva Vimuktidam Prapya Na Muksheya Bandhana. My Lord, surely I have been solidly cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For in spite of having obtained your association, because Kardama is not an ordinary soul, Kardama is one for whom Lord Vishnu had descended, being touched by his prayers. So he's not ordinary, he's a pure devotee. So, in spite of having a pure devotee husband, which gives liberation from material bondage, I did not seek such liberation. What did Devahuti seek from Kardama? Unfortunately, sense gratification. So, similarly, one lesson we can take is when we get an opportunity to, say, for example, stay in the temple, we get association of devotees, we get nice prasadam. But when we have all this arrangement for spiritual growth, if we take it only for material growth, what happens to us? Solidly cheated by Maya. Like sometimes in India, when we were part of voice, how do the boys come to voice centers? Because in the voice centers, the students who stay there, they're all class toppers in our voice centers. And that's how even I got attracted. Because they are a little spiritual also, but they are class toppers. So no one goes for spiritual purpose. They go for material purpose. So one can go to a devotee but take material advantage of him. So one boy can come chant with you one round and finally ask, Prabhu, how did you land the job in Google? Can you give me some tips? He can take that help, but if he takes only that help, he is being solidly cheated by Maya. You able to understand? So when we get spiritual arrangement, when we use it for material purpose, that means we are being solidly cheated by. Sometimes people want to come and stay only for prasadam. Though there is benefit, but it is not much if you're not ready to associate with devotees. So at this point in time, Kardama Muni, recalling the words of Lord Vishnu, the merciful sage Kardama replied as follows to Swambhuv Manu's praiseworthy daughter, Devoti, who was speaking words full of renunciation. The sage said, do not be disappointed with yourself, O princess. You are actually praiseworthy. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead will shortly enter your womb as your son. You have undertaken sacred vows. God will bless you. Hence, you should worship the Lord with great faith through sensory control, religious observances, austerities, and gifts of your money in charity. Yeah. See, Maitreya says, Devoti was fully faithful and respectful toward the direction of her husband Kardama, who was one of the Prajapatis, or the generators of human beings in the universe. O great sage, she thus began to worship the master of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart. After many, many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusudan, the killer of the demon Madhu, having entered the semen of Kardama, appeared in Devoti just as fire comes from wood in a sacrifice. At the time of descent on earth, demigods in the form of raining clouds sounded musical instruments in the sky. The celestial musician the Gandharvas sang the glories of the Lord, while celestial dancing girls known as Apsaras danced in joyful ecstasy. This is how who takes birth? Lord Kapila takes birth. And now you will find what does the prayer. That all we'll see in the book only. Okay. So this is how Kapila takes birth. When Devahuti wanted, when she was speaking the words of renunciation. So she understood material enjoyment is not going to give me happiness. So I want something more. At that point in time, Kapila comes. Yeah. Of course, what does Kardama do? Does he take sannyas after that? Kapila is going to come, the Supreme Person of Godhead, into his home. He still takes sannyas. So what is the use of that sannyas? Following his duty. So Lord is at his home. Why is he taking sannyas? Yes, to set an example. Yes, someone will say my son is also like my Lord, like Krishna only. I'll also stay at home. To set an example, he still takes sannyas. Yeah, that's man. The sages took leave of Kardama, depart full of joy, each of his own. Okay. Hmm, okay. So I'm just seeing, is all devotee speaking? Okay, Kardama is praising Lord Kapila. After offering his prayers, he leaves. So which chapter does it start from? It's 25th chapter. Yeah, 25th chapter. So is this 25th chapter? Teachings of Lord Kapila book. See, 18 chapters are there. Yeah, this is this thing only. 25th chapter. Okay. So we read this. Shaunaka now is speaking. Shaunaka is speaking to whom? Huh? No. Shaunaka is not speaking to.
Prabhu, sages of Naimisharanya, right?
Shaunakadi Rishi is the sage of Naimisharanya, no?
Yeah. So like, okay, never mind. Sorry.
Okay, let me just see. थर्ड कैंटो लेके आओ सुबोधिनी देखना पड़ेगा. Where I sit behind that, you know, no? He knows. Third canto. Okay. Okay, we'll just read it again. Shaunaka uvacha kapilastattva sankhyaata bhagavan atma mayaya jata swayamaja sakshat atma pragyaptayen nam. Yeah, Kapila's Tattva Sankhyaata. He came to speak which philosophy? The Sankhya philosophy. But this Tattva Sankhyaata means not the atheistic. There are two types of Kapila, which Prabhupada mentioned in the purport. Then one is the atheist Kapila, other one is Devavati Putra Kapila. So we are discussing about Devavati Putra Kapila, who is the Supreme Lord in himself. Whereas the atheist Kapila is not the Supreme Person of Godhead. So who is this atheist Kapila? Huh? Now what does he preach? Both, yeah. Sankhya without? Yes. He only explains this whole world as a conglomeration of 24 elements. That is Sankhya. Sankhya means to count. Sankhya Purvaka Namagan Tipi means by counting you do. So you in this philosophy of counting, you're counting this whole world. The cause of this whole world is these elements. Like if I say everything is atoms, this whole phone is made up of atoms, laptop is made up of atoms, this stand is made up of atoms. So then everything you can see in terms of atoms only. That is Sankhya, to see in its elemental form. Of course, we'll get into this thing. Of course, but Tattva Sankhyata, especially 25th chapter, is talking about devotional service to Krishna. So as Prabhupada mentions about Sankhya, we'll elaborate more. And then Bhagavan Atma Maya. Why is it said Atma Maya? Can anyone say? What does Atma Maya means? Yeah, what Maya is this? Not external potency. Yeah. Conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. And
Shaunaka Rishi and Sutta Goswami speaking.
yeah, but then Shaunaka is explaining to Sutta Goswami. He's explaining to her. He's asking question. Here he's explaining. Shaunaka Vacha Kapila Sattva Sankhya. He's explaining who Kapila is. So opposite ho gaya na? It's like say I'm sitting on asan and I'm asking you, I'm asking you, you're explaining. So it looks like that. थोड़ा देखना पड़ेगा.
So
See,
Shaunaka
text.
Rishi asked Sutta Goswami about Vidura and Maitreya conversation. And then Sutta
Sorry.
Goswami feels inspired by it, no?
Can you please tell again, Prabhu?
So Shaunaka Rishi is eager to hear about Lord Kapila, and he asks Sutta Goswami and about the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya.
Okay.
And then Sutta Goswami speaks about Lord Kapila Dev.
But this is Shaunaka Vacha. Okay. So what is
In
happening? Yeah. Actually, in 3 verses, text 1
yeah.
to 3, he tells that this who is Lord Kapila? So please tell us more about him.
Mm.
The question is 3 verses long. That's the problem. Correct, no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
So
And they're
actually,
quoting. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Yes, Prabhu. Fourth question is where Sutta Goswami starts speaking. Fourth.
Fourth text onwards.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. And Jata Swayam Aja Sakshat. He was born from his own Maya. Means he came not by force. We take birth in this world by force. Force means force of material nature. Whereas the Supreme Lord, when he comes to this world, how does he come? By his own sweet way. Sweet. And Atma Pragyaptaye Ninam. Why? To uplift, to elevate, to liberate. To liberate, yeah. To liberate the living entities, conditioned living entities. That's the whole verse. Okay. Today I will read, but other time we will have enough proper technological setup so that everyone can read and everyone can hear. So don't mind me, I'm reading just because they're not able to hear you. Or the online devotees can read. Can you read, Prabhu? Samaksh, maybe you can start.
Yes, Prabhuji. The word Atma Pragyaptaye indicates that the Lord descends for the benefit of the human race to give transcendental knowledge. Material necessities are quite sufficiently provided for in the knowledge given in the Vedic literatures, which offer a program for good living and gradual elevation to the platform of Sattva Gun, the mode of goodness. Once one is situated in Sattva Gun, one's knowledge expands. On the platform of passion, there is no knowledge, for passion is an impetus to enjoy material benefits. On the platform of ignorance, there is neither knowledge nor enjoyment, but simply animalistic living.
So, okay, you can read one more paragraph.
The Vedas are intended to elevate one from the mode of ignorance to the platform of goodness. When one is situated in the mode of goodness, he is able to understand the knowledge of the self, or transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge cannot be appreciated by any ordinary man. Therefore, a disciplic succession is required. This knowledge is expounded either by Supreme Personality of Godhead himself or by his bona fide devotee. Shaunaka Muni also states here that Kapila, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, took birth or appeared simply to disseminate the transcendental knowledge. To understand that one is not matter but spirit, soul, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the nature Brahman, is not sufficient. Is not sufficient for understanding the self and his activities. One must be situated in the activities of Brahman. Knowledge of those activities is explained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Such transcendental knowledge can be appreciated in human society but not in animal society, as clearly indicated here by the word nrinam
Pranam.
for the human beings. Human beings are meant to lead a regulated life. By nature, there is regulation in animal life also, but that is not like the regulative life described in the scriptures or by the Vedic authorities. Only when one's life is regulated according to the Vedas can one understand transcendental knowledge.
Okay, can anyone say what you got from this from this purport and Prabhupada's words.
So
Yeah.
basically, like many people are in three modes. One is in mode of ignorance, cannot neither cannot enjoy or like live with life, and only one person can enjoy the spiritual knowledge, and only in goodness he can understand, he can live the life according to Veda. But that is also not sufficient. So when one is in mode of goodness, then he can we have to elevate to understand the knowledge of the self or transcendental knowledge.
Okay, good. Thank you. And anything else? Yeah, bona fide parampara. Parampara is always started from those people. Okay, good. And what else? Yeah. Thank you. Very good. Any other point? What is Prabhupada saying in the purport? Anything else? So Sri Prabhupada is first explaining about Atma Pragyaptanenam. That means the purpose of descent of the Supreme Lord is defined. He doesn't come with no purpose, isn't it? So his purpose is to uplift or elevate the consciousness, to liberate the human race, to deliver human race. So Sri Prabhupada was saying that in the Vedic literatures, what knowledge is given? The knowledge given in the Vedic literature and the knowledge given in other books, the materialistic knowledge, Jada Vidya and Divya Gyan, there is a difference. So what is the purpose of the Vedic literatures? Yes, very good. So Vedic literatures gives knowledge to help the living entities lead a sattvic life. And Prabhupada says material necessities, whatever is required to lead sattvic life, everything is given in Shastra. One doesn't have to go elsewhere. One doesn't need the knowledge of machines, how to build weapons, how do you build bombs, nuclear energy, isn't it? All this knowledge is not required. Whatever is required, for Kshatriyas, they have Dhanur Veda, Dhanush Shastra, weapon, knowledge of weapons. And if one is interested in building machines which fly, they have Vimana Shastra. If someone is interested in mathematics, they have Vedic mathematics. Someone is interested in medicine, they have Ayurveda. All such knowledge, which is even at a very much more depth than superficial knowledge propounded by the materialistic modern science, is already provided in the Shastra. But the benefit of getting knowledge from Shastra is they help the living entity regulate his life to lead a life of sattva. One can say, but the Vedic knowledge doesn't tell you how to, build a Ferrari and you can drive fast and everything. The Vedic Shastra doesn't tell you about building skyscraper buildings. Where is the law of gravity mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita? Isn't it? No. The purpose, whatever Vedic scripture you take, every Vedic scripture has its own purpose. Because Gita is called as Gita Upanishad. Gita is not meant for karmis, as in materialistic people. Gita is not meant for ordinary people. I mean, is meant for everyone. But when I say it's not meant for ordinary people, it's not meant for people who are not looking for spiritual elevation. You cannot go on a relaxed chair and read Gita as a novel, as a comic book. Gita is meant for those who are looking for higher subject matter, isn't it? So therefore, materialistic subject matter is not mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. So similarly, whatever Veda Anga you take, any aspect of the Vedas, everything has its purpose. So Prabhupada was mentioning the purpose of Vedic literature is to help the living entity lead a sattvic life. Now today, the modern scientists say that why to refer to the Shastras? We don't know if they're true or apart from that, Gopal Prabhu has reading. Okay, you should I mean, you should maybe just write down what all things are there when. It's a little confusing for me. I would have chosen another link.
No problem. We can continue. I can get a different link. I can continue on that one.
I'll just conclude in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes, I'm done. So Prabhupada says that the Vedic scriptures, they help bring the living entity to more of goodness. And therefore, Vedic is not that people in the Vedic times didn't know what we are learning today. We can be proud of our Python and C++ and JavaScript and HTML, CSS and what all technology, Prabhu? What? हो गया पूरा cover हो गया. Huh? AWS. Huh? What is it? Some GCP something? Cloud. Huh?
AI.
So we can be proud of all of this. Yeah, AI. So we can look at these fools in the Vedic times, they didn't know anything. Poor fellows. Actually, one devotee was saying they had so much knowledge, that after getting all that knowledge, they left everything and went to the forest. Now we are just looking, we're just digging, and we're getting little knowledge here and there. Like, where is the technology what Sanjay had? A live television. Live television, for us, we need this instrument. Sanjay could bring it up in front of the Dhritarashtra. He could see it. No need to carry it. Isn't it? Live television. That technology is there. And look at Ashwatthama's Brahmastra. He wanted to kill the last heir to the Kuru dynasty, King Parikshit, who was in the womb of Uttara. So he released a Brahmastra which would just kill Parikshit without even harming Uttara. You have such a weapon? And no need to carry it. I mean, I think it was a mantra. It was invoked by the mantra, Brahmastra. So you see, the technology available in the Vedic times was much, much more better than what technology we have today. And look at us, we are therefore called as Kupamanduka. Kupamanduka means the frog in a well. Frog in a well measures everything in the units of wells. So the one day another frog from the ocean came. And the frog in the ocean said, "My dear frog, do you know where I'm coming from?" So frog in the well said, "No, I don't know where you're coming from." He said, "I'm coming from the ocean." Then this fellow's, he has his glasses and he's thinking, "Ocean? What is that? Is it as big as this well?" And the frog in the ocean said, "What? Well, it is. You cannot even imagine how vast the ocean is." And the frog in the well said, "Maybe 2 wells, because the unit is wells." He is so narrow-minded. For him, units only exist in wells. He said, "No, much bigger. Maybe 5 wells, 10 wells." He could never understand. So similarly, the modern scientists, the modern philosophers, the modern poets, they're all like Kupamandukas. For them, everything exists in their own units. God is great, but how great? A little greater than me. I am the unit, now. So this is all Kupamanduka. Because of which they think the Vedic people, the Vedic civilization was simply, they did not have enough technology, which is not true. They had so much technology, but they knew that material life is not the goal of life. And therefore, they would follow Shastra. And when they would follow Shastra and lead life according to Shastra, what does that mean? Like Prabhupada said, self-sufficient farms. Grow your own vegetable. Now you'll find when there's no job, people go for that only. Isn't it? But Prabhupada already said it before. So, similarly, if, for example, the modern man, he wants to escape exercise, isn't it? He was always coding in the office. Now he's not doing running. But then he has to go in the evening to gym and run on the treadmill. But otherwise, in traditional times, they would do farming. So the energy spent there Now he has to spend in treadmill and he has to pay for it, isn't it? So you can see how he is the cause of his own problems. Today people say the modern man is bringing solution to problems. But our question is, who is creating those problems? The modern man. We are creating solutions to problem of pollution. Who created pollution? The modern man, isn't it? They say, what is the use of this? What is that? Horse carts or bullock carts. They are so too slow. You have to get fast cars, where you can have the speed at kmph, kilometer per hour. But the problem with kmph is you get accidents, isn't it? In bullock cart, have you ever heard of accident? Two bullock cart crushed and the driver died in between. Never. The accidents only happen with cars. So the modern man thinks the Vedic solutions are very primitive. Why? Because he doesn't understand this. Where is it headed? The Vedic solution is headed towards sattva. Because it is only in sattva that you can understand Krishna. So therefore, one devotee was saying, sattva is like coming to the airport. Only from there you can transcend in the flight. Otherwise, we cannot transcend. So therefore, sattvic lifestyle is very important. So anyway, we'll conclude here. Prabhuji has his session. So we will continue next time. Tomorrow we'll continue. Today we spent little time. We went little overtime because we spent time in setting up this thing. Tomorrow it will all be set up. Maybe one. Who is book reading in church, Prabhu? You. So if we can just 5 minutes set it up and just make sure it works, and all of you can read, and we will cover tomorrow. So today we cover only first 2 paragraphs. I think every reading we can cover 3-4 paragraphs. One concept we'll cover. Okay. So thank you very much. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Prabhupada ki. Taigaur Prema. Thank you, dear online devotees, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.